everyone, my name is Boomy and I wanted to make a quick video about how to stay calm during this pandemic and 5 tips that I've been using for the last few weeks to deal with anxiety. The last few weeks have been a little crazy. I've had a lot of anxiety, a couple meltdowns, crying. I know I'm not the only one. My family has dealt with it and also friends as well. And it's a little crazy right now. My intention with this video is to help you guys deal with this anxiety and the negative emotions and the negative thought processes, and hopefully with these tips you'll be at least 10% calmer than you were before. Before I get into the video, the most important lesson that I've learned through this whole pandemic is that it's really not about the external world, it's really about your internal world and how stable it is. What I mean by that is that change is inevitable. You can look into nature and you can see that trees are constantly changing, plants are constantly changing, even animals are consistently moving and changing. However, in our modern world, we've created systems and processes that really avoid change. We've relied on these processes so much that we almost use the external world as our stability, when it should be the opposite. You should have stability in you because the external world is always going to be changing. I want you guys to remember, not only for this pandemic but in life in general, that it doesn't matter what happens in your external world as long as you have worked on your internal world and you have cultivated that stability inside of you. You can get through anything. So let's get into the 5 tips that have been helping me for the last few weeks to deal with my mental breakdowns and just my anxiety in general. I wrote everything out, so let's get started. The first tip I have for you guys is to limit or even stop watching the news / social media. This one is a big one that's helped me to stay calm. I want you guys to realize that our brains are created to look for fear, to look for things that can harm us, that can ultimately kill us. That's how our ancestors survived in the wild, and we still have that tool. The tool is called the fight or flight mode that our brains go into. When you watch the news, most of the time they tell you about the things that are going on in the world that you should be aware of. The awareness is really a negative thing that triggers the fight or flight mode in our brain. So your brain can't really do anything about it except keep thinking about the issue and not really dealing with it. This can show up in a constant stream of thoughts and just going into a loop of what's going to happen, taking the scenario and making it even 10 times worse. When you stop watching the news, you stop that constant trigger of fight or flight mode that your brain goes into, and that plays a big role in your anxiety. The second tip that I have for you guys is to write out everything that you're thinking about. This is a trick that my acupuncture has taught me / my therapist. I deal with a lot of anxiety and my anxiety goes haywire at creating these scenarios that don't even happen, don't even exist, but it goes into this loop and it creates a lot of negative emotions. So when I take everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, most of the time it's the bad and the ugly, and I put it onto a piece of paper, I'm basically clearing my brain and putting it out, and I can logically see all these things that I'm thinking about. You just realize that when it's in your head, it seems so important, but when you write it on a piece of paper and you actually think it through, it's like that's not actually going to happen. My third tip is to focus on the solution and not the problem. It's so easy to get wrapped up in the numbers and the situation, what the hospitals are going through with all these crazy with all the reality, and I'm not saying discredit everything. I'm not saying that those are false and this is all made up. I'm saying that you cannot find a solution when you're so deep in the problem. What I mean by that is, imagine someone who has a disease and you come up to them and you tell them, it's like, hey, X amount of people in the world have this every year, X amount of people die, this is what the government is not doing to help you, this is what the community is not doing to help you, this is how extreme it is. When you put it in that way, the person who has the disease, they don't want to talk to you because you're just telling them things that are not helpful at all. Now let's take it even a step further. When someone doesn't have the disease and you tell them all this stuff that's going on, you're not helping them, you're actually being the problem, and you're putting fear into their mind and you're triggering their fight or flight mode. And that doesn't help them, that doesn't help you. And most importantly, that doesn't help you because you're replaying and you're focusing on the problem again. I know sometimes that we can't be part of the solution, but even if you can't be part of the solution, don't be part of the problem. My fourth tip is to focus on the now. This one is a little tricky for me. I know when I'm going into my anxiety mode, I am going into the future thinking about all these crazy scenarios that may or may not happen, or I'm going into the past and I'm thinking about what I should have done differently, how I should have been more prepared, what I should have done this, I should have done that. And I'm not really being present. I flip-flop between the past and the future, and I just go haywire, and that creates even more anxious thoughts and negative emotions. As I'm telling you guys, I'm trying to learn this even better, is to focus on the now. The now is not about the past, it's not about the future, it is this moment. And in this moment, those two situations I have no control over and I cannot be thinking about. The best way that I found that I can get into my now present moment is by focusing on my breath. So I take in 10 deep breaths and I will count to 5. So I'll take 5 seconds in and then 5 seconds out, and I'll do that 10 times and I get back into my body. Then I'll focus on things around me, like the 5 colors I see, the 5 objects I see, or things that I hear, or the things that I smell. Something that is immediate and that I am currently going through. I am not currently going through my future. I am not currently going through my past. I am currently at this moment. Right now, I'm doing this video. My last tip is to focus your energy on things that you can control. In life, not just during this pandemic, there's a lot of things that we can't control. We can't control the people around us, we can't control the government, we can't control the community, we can't even control our work environment. I mean, we could be fired from our jobs. There's a lot of stuff that we can't control. But there's also a lot of things that we can control. The things that you can control are yourself, how you react to the world, what you focus on, what your thoughts are, what your emotions are. In your internal world, there's a lot more you can control. This goes a lot deeper than just creating a positive mindset and just creating a better version of you. It almost creates a mirroring effect in the world around you. And I'm going to create another video about this because there's a lot more to talk about. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe. But for now, I will just leave you with focusing on what you can control, which is yourself, the activities that you do, and just your thoughts in general. These are the 5 tips that I've been using for the last few weeks to deal with this whole pandemic and just my anxiety. If any of these tips were unclear, you can always rewatch the video. If you guys found this video helpful, please hit the like button. And if you want to see similar videos about creating a better version of you and to deal with a lot of things that life hits us with, please subscribe. I hope you guys stay safe and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.